There's a silent symptom that could be happening to you right now, and many people simply ignore it. The biggest mistake people make when it comes to HIV is thinking that just because they feel fine, everything is okay. What no one tells you is that this virus can stay in the body for years without showing clear signs, until it's too late. The early symptoms can easily be confused with a cold or even stress. But there are specific signs that can indicate an infection, and if you experience any of these, you need to get tested immediately. Many people only find out when the virus has already caused damage to the body. And this can be avoided if you know exactly what to look for. I'm going to show you the 10 symptoms that could indicate an HIV infection. If one or more of these are present, it's time to act before it's too late. Imagine waking up in the morning feeling like you've run a marathon, without even leaving your bed. Extreme fatigue is one of the first warning signs the body gives when something is wrong. When HIV enters the bloodstream, it starts a silent battle with the immune system. This drains the body's energy, causing an inexplicable exhaustion. It's not just the tiredness of a long day, but a persistent fatigue that can last for days or even weeks. If getting off the couch feels like a Herculean task, it might be time to pay attention. This type of fatigue doesn't improve with rest. You could sleep for 10 hours straight and still wake up feeling like you barely slept. This happens because the body is constantly mobilizing its defenses to fight the virus, demanding more energy than usual. Many people mistake this symptom for overwork or stress, and that's where the danger lies. How do you know if it's something temporary or a real warning sign? If fatigue is accompanied by other symptoms, such as fever or swollen lymph nodes, it could be a strong indication of infection. But here's an important detail. No one should panic over simple tiredness. However, if it becomes a pattern along with other risk signs, it's best not to ignore it. The body speaks, and those who listen stay ahead. If fatigue persists for more than a week, along with other unusual symptoms, it's time to take action. After all, recognizing early signs can make all the difference. And speaking of visible signs, some skin manifestations can be an even more obvious warning. The skin acts as a mirror of internal health, and when something is wrong, it often shows clear signs. In the case of HIV, small reddish eruptions may appear without any apparent cause. These spots can develop on the face, chest, back, or even arms and are often mistaken for allergies or reactions to hygiene products. However, unlike simple irritation, these lesions persist for days and, in some cases, may itch or burn. When the immune system starts being attacked, the skin reacts, signaling that something is happening internally. Many people ignore these signs, assuming they are temporary, like an allergy to a new soap or clothing. But when these rashes don't disappear within a few days or appear alongside fever and extreme fatigue, it's a warning to take seriously. In addition to red spots, sores in the mouth or even small blisters may develop in some areas of the body. The body is trying to fight off the infection, and the skin is one of the first to manifest this invisible battle. Ignoring these changes can be a dangerous mistake, since the earlier a diagnosis is made, the better the chances of managing the infection. If you notice unusual skin marks along with other persistent symptoms, getting tested could be the safest step. After all, when the body starts sending such obvious signals, ignoring them can come at a high cost. But beyond visible marks, there is another symptom that may appear silently during the night. Waking up in the middle of the night drenched in sweat might seem normal after a hot day or an intense nightmare. But when it happens repeatedly, without any logical explanation, it could be a warning sign. In the case of HIV, the immune system reacts to the infection with episodes of excessive sweating, especially during sleep. Unlike occasional sweating, this type of symptom can soak the sheets or even the entire bed due to excessive moisture. If this is happening, it's worth investigating. The problem is that many people dismiss the symptom or attribute it to other causes, such as anxiety or hormonal changes. But when night sweats come with low-grade fever, chills, and extreme fatigue, the situation changes. The body is trying to regulate its temperature because the immune system is in a constant state of alert, fighting an invisible enemy. This defense cycle can last for weeks, appearing and disappearing without an apparent reason, only to return stronger when least expected. If there's one thing the body does well, it's signaling when something is wrong. Frequent and unexplained night sweats, when combined with other signs of infection, can be an early indicator of HIV. However, only a test can confirm it. And while many people overlook this symptom, another even more classic warning sign may emerge, clearly signaling the internal battle taking place. You know that low-grade persistent fever that comes and goes without explanation? Well, it could be an early sign of HIV infection. When the virus enters the body, the immune system kicks into action, trying to fight it off, and this battle causes an increase in body temperature. Often, this fever doesn't exceed 38 degrees Celsius (100.4 degrees Fahrenheit) and is accompanied by sudden chills. The problem? Many people ignore it, thinking it's just a passing flu. But while the flu lasts a few days, this fever can persist for weeks. The real danger lies in how similar it is to common illnesses. A cold, a throat infection, or even a viral illness can all cause fever and chills. But when this symptom lingers without an apparent cause and appears alongside other signs like extreme fatigue and night sweats, the body may be signaling something more serious. During this early phase, HIV is multiplying rapidly, and the fever is a direct response to this intense viral activity. Now, if fever and chills are accompanied by a sore throat, the warning should be even greater. After all, many viral infections affect this area, but in the case of HIV, there is a particularity that can be an important distinguishing factor. A sore, red throat might seem like just another flu or allergy symptom, but in the context of HIV, the story is different. Unlike bacterial infections, which often cause white patches and mucus buildup, an HIV-related sore throat is intense and persistent, without obvious signs of visible inflammation. It can last for days or even weeks, making simple activities like swallowing a real discomfort. Many people take anti-inflammatory medications or try home remedies in an attempt to ease the pain, without realizing that the issue could be something more serious. This sore throat, combined with low-grade fever and swollen lymph nodes in the neck, is a strong indication that the immune system is under attack. When HIV enters the body, it triggers an intense immune response, inflaming tissues and overloading the body's natural defenses. That's why, unlike a simple throat infection, this symptom tends to linger and doesn't improve as quickly as it should. Many times, a person might feel like they're recovering, only for the pain to return even stronger. If the sore throat lasts for an extended period and is accompanied by other symptoms like fever, fatigue, and night sweats, ignoring it could be a mistake. But the throat isn't the only part of the body that can send clear signals that something is wrong. The lymph nodes, which act as the immune system's sensors, may start reacting in a very noticeable way.
Your health is in your hands, and in what you eat. Have you ever imagined relieving pain, boosting your energy, and strengthening your immunity just by choosing the right foods? This isn't magic, it's science. The link is in the pinned comment and the description. Check it out and start your transformation today.
The intestines are a true thermometer of health, reacting immediately when something is wrong. In the case of HIV, one of the lesser discussed but highly significant symptoms is persistent diarrhea. Unlike temporary discomfort caused by food or common viruses, this diarrhea lasts for weeks and does not improve with simple medication. This happens because HIV can directly affect the digestive tract, damaging the intestinal villi responsible for nutrient absorption and maintaining the balance of the gut flora. The major issue is that many people take a long time to associate this symptom with HIV, assuming it's just something temporary. However, when diarrhea is accompanied by weakness, weight loss, and dehydration, it's a clear sign that the body is suffering. The body loses essential fluids and minerals, which can lead to a general decline in health. For anyone experiencing this symptom, it's important to observe whether it persists for extended periods and if there are any other associated signs. And speaking of uncomfortable manifestations, the discomfort might not be limited to the digestive system. The mouth can also develop sores and ulcers, adding another alert that the body is out of balance. If there's one thing the body does well, it's signaling when something isn't right. And one of the clearest warnings that the immune system is fighting an infection is the swelling of the lymph nodes, commonly known as swollen glands. These small glands, located in the neck, armpits, and groin, act as defense centers for the body. When HIV enters the bloodstream, the lymph nodes spring into action, swelling noticeably. This swelling can last for weeks and, in some cases, may be accompanied by pain when touched. The problem is that many people ignore this symptom or chalk it up to a temporary infection, like a cold. But when the swollen glands increase without an apparent reason and persist for a long time, it's important to pay attention. Unlike common infections, in the case of HIV, the swollen lymph nodes don't disappear quickly. They can grow significantly, and in some cases, spread to different areas of the body. This is a sign that the infection is active and requiring an intense immune response. And if swollen lymph nodes weren't already an important warning, imagine when this symptom is combined with persistent digestive problems. Believe it or not, the intestines can also be one of the first organs to feel the impact of the infection. The mouth is one of the first parts of the body to reflect internal problems. And in the case of HIV, the appearance of sores can be a significant warning sign. These small, painful lesions, which appear on the tongue, gums, or inside the cheeks, can make eating difficult. Unlike common canker sores, which disappear quickly, these sores may persist for weeks, making every meal uncomfortable. Acidic or spicy foods, for example, can cause an intense burning sensation, making even drinking fluids a challenge. These sores occur because the immune system is weakened, allowing opportunistic viruses and bacteria to manifest more easily. Many people ignore these symptoms, thinking it's just stress or a vitamin deficiency. However, when these sores appear alongside extreme fatigue, fever, and other signs of infection, it's time to pay attention. After all, the mouth doesn't lie. When something is wrong with the body, it's often one of the first to give the warning. And if the mouth already brings discomfort, imagine when the pain spreads to the joints, making simple movements a real challenge. Moving your arms, bending your knees, or even opening and closing your hands can become a challenge when joint pain appears for no apparent reason. In the context of HIV, this pain doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It's the result of the body's intense inflammatory response to the virus. The immune system, in its attempt to fight the infection, triggers inflammatory processes that affect not only internal organs but also muscles and joints. That's why some people infected with HIV report persistent discomfort in the knees, ankles, shoulders, and even fingers. Unlike common pains caused by physical exertion or poor posture, this pain is constant and may worsen over time. Many confuse it with symptoms of arthritis or muscle problems and end up ignoring the true cause behind the discomfort. In some cases, the joints may also swell slightly, indicating that something more than simple wear and tear is happening in the body. And, as with other HIV symptoms, this pain is often accompanied by other signs like fever, fatigue, and even weight loss. Speaking of weight loss, when it happens suddenly and without explanation, it's an even more worrying sign. After all, losing weight without any apparent reason may indicate that the body is facing a much bigger internal battle than anyone realizes. Losing weight might seem like a positive thing for many people, but when weight loss happens quickly and without effort, it's time to raise the alarm. In the case of HIV, the body starts to consume its own energy reserves in an attempt to fight the infection, resulting in a drastic reduction in muscle mass. Appetite may decrease, digestion may become compromised, and nutrient absorption becomes inefficient. The result? Noticeable weight loss within a few weeks, with no significant changes in diet or daily habits. This sudden weight loss is not just cosmetic, it reflects a general weakening of the body. When HIV is not identified and treated in time, it directly impacts metabolism, leading to a state of progressive depletion. What was once a healthy body begins to show clear signs of fragility. Clothes become loose, muscles lose definition, and the feeling of fatigue becomes even more intense. Ignoring this symptom can accelerate the progression of the infection and make treatment more challenging. But there's a big difference between being infected with HIV and developing AIDS. While HIV silently attacks the immune system, AIDS is the most advanced stage, where the body can no longer defend itself against opportunistic diseases. Many people still confuse HIV with AIDS, but understanding this difference can significantly affect how the infection is viewed. HIV is the virus that attacks the immune system, weakening the body's defenses over time. AIDS, on the other hand, is the advanced stage of the infection, when the immune system is severely compromised and vulnerable to opportunistic diseases. In other words, a person can live for years with HIV without developing AIDS, as long as they undergo proper treatment. The good news is that with advancements in medicine, HIV can be controlled, and it is possible to prevent it from progressing to AIDS. Current treatments, such as antiretroviral therapy, help maintain a low viral load and allow the immune system to continue functioning. This means that living with HIV is no longer a death sentence, but rather a chronic condition that can be managed. However, early diagnosis is crucial to ensure treatment begins as soon as possible. The problem is that many people don't get tested and spend years unknowingly infected. This is because HIV can remain silent in the body for a long time before showing visible signs. And when the first symptoms appear, time might already be working against the person. But just how long does it take for symptoms to show up, and what are the real numbers behind this infection? When we talk about HIV, the numbers tell a story that many people ignore. For example, the first symptoms may appear between 2 to 4 weeks after exposure to the virus, but this doesn't mean that everyone will notice them. In some individuals, the infection may show up early, while others might go up to 10 years without showing any apparent symptoms. This makes HIV a silent and deceptive infection, as many people continue their lives normally without suspecting that they are already infected. Another important fact: the fever associated with HIV can last from 1 to 2 weeks, acting as one of the first alerts that the immune system is reacting to the infection. However, this fever is often mistaken for a common cold, leading many to ignore one of the earliest signs of the disease. That's why preventive testing is crucial. The absence of symptoms does not mean the absence of the virus, and the sooner a diagnosis is made, the greater the chances for control and quality of life. So how can we differentiate HIV symptoms from other common viral infections? After all, fever, fatigue, and a sore throat are recurring signs of various illnesses. What makes HIV symptoms so unique, and how can we recognize them more accurately? The biggest trap with HIV is that its early symptoms are strikingly similar to those of other viral infections, such as the flu or mononucleosis. Fever, fatigue, sore throat, night sweats, and even muscle aches can emerge in the first weeks after infection. What sets HIV apart from a common viral illness is the duration and persistence of these symptoms. While a flu typically improves within a week, the initial symptoms of HIV may last for weeks or even months, appearing and disappearing without explanation. Another essential point is the presence of unusual symptoms in routine viral infections. Persistent swollen lymph nodes, prolonged diarrhea, and unexplained weight loss are signs that something more serious may be happening. Additionally, mouth sores and skin rashes tend to appear in a significant number of cases, but these are often overlooked or attributed to other factors. The key to differentiating HIV from a common viral infection lies in the combination of symptoms and how often they occur. That's why relying solely on bodily signals can be misleading. The only way to be sure is by taking a specific HIV test. Many people live for years without realizing they're infected simply because the symptoms aren't clear enough to raise suspicion. But when the first signs do appear, recognizing the early indications can be the key to quick diagnosis and effective treatment. The biggest challenge with HIV is that, in its early stages, it can go unnoticed. The first signs appear between 2 to 4 weeks after infection and are often mistaken for a common viral illness. Among the earliest symptoms, persistent fever, extreme fatigue, and swollen lymph nodes are the most noticeable. In addition, mouth sores, prolonged diarrhea, and night sweats are indicators that the body is fighting something more serious than a simple cold. But how can you tell if these symptoms are just a cold or a real warning sign? Timing is crucial. If these symptoms persist for more than 10 days without significant improvement, it's time to raise the red flag. Additionally, the presence of multiple symptoms at the same time may suggest something is wrong. For example, if fever is accompanied by intense sweating and extreme fatigue, it's recommended to seek medical advice and consider getting an HIV test. The only way to be absolutely sure is by taking the test. Many people delay this step out of fear or lack of information, but early diagnosis is the best strategy to keep your health under control. Identifying HIV early allows for quick treatment, avoiding future complications. But what about those who have already been diagnosed? How has medicine advanced in controlling the infection, and what are the best treatment options today? One of the most dramatic changes in recent years has been the treatment of HIV. In the past, a positive diagnosis was seen as a death sentence. But today, with medical advancements, the reality is very different. Antiretroviral medications allow a person living with HIV to have a long and healthy life without the virus progressing to AIDS. These medications control the replication of the virus in the body, reducing the viral load to undetectable levels, meaning it's so low that transmission becomes nearly impossible. The key to effective treatment is early diagnosis and continuous medication use. When started in a timely manner, treatment prevents HIV from attacking the immune system, keeping the person healthy and active. And the best part? Today's medications are more modern, with fewer side effects and simplified doses. In many cases, a single pill a day is enough to keep the virus under control. This means that HIV, once a constant threat, can now be managed as a chronic condition. However, there is one important detail. The earlier treatment begins, the greater the chances of avoiding complications. And for that, HIV testing is crucial. Unfortunately, many people only seek help when symptoms have already advanced, losing precious time. That's why, if there is any suspicion, the best course of action is always to act quickly. But how can we ensure that this information reaches more people? And what can be done to encourage testing and prevention? Now that you know the symptoms of HIV, the question is, will you ignore them or take action? Time is crucial, and only a test can provide certainty. Don't wait for the signs to worsen. Let me know in the comments. Did you already know these symptoms? And if this content was helpful, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to keep receiving valuable information on health and prevention. Now that you know this, what will your next step be?